This is Dave Yoder in Danfoss Technical Support. In today's video, we're going to look at building a calculation to run a sales dimmer without a photocell. So an option we have when it comes to sales dimming is we can give this dimming load, especially if it's LED lights, we can give it two different sales levels or lighting levels based on the time of day. And we can do this without a skylight photocell. So we're going to walk through the calculation on how to do that. We'll start with configuration and then control. We'll go to miscellaneous and then calculations. And we'll build a calculation on how to set up this dimming. So we're going to set up an example where the sales dimming based on LED lights is going to go to 50% at night and 80% during the day. And one of the options that we have here in the calculations is we're going to set it for SI, just a sensor input with no units attached. For this example, generic is fine, and let's give it a name. Now we have to define a couple of point values and a schedule. So let's do the schedule first. We're going to change our data point type to schedule. And we're going to say that during open hours, and let's make that from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. During open hours, we want to be at 80% light output. But during closed hours, we'll be at 50%. We've defined our schedule. Now we'll back up a step. Here's our schedule we just added. Now we need to define those two fixed values, 50 and 80. So we'll go in and edit our data point so we can do our first number. That will be 50. Let's edit our second data point. Instead of a relay, we're going to change it to a number. That will be 80. So we've got the ingredients we need. We've got our schedule. We've got our two data point numbers. Down here in this lower section, the bottom section, this is where we'll use these values and we'll make our decisions down here. This line actually is going to work for us as is, and I'll explain why that is. So we're going to double click on this line to do some editing. And the schedule is going to be our data point. And we have to tell it that we want to use the number 4 line as our output when the schedule is true. So the way this is going to read is that if the schedule is on, it's going to use the value on num4, which is 80%. If the schedule is off, that means the store is closed and it will default back to num3, which is 50%. So there's no skylight needed. We'll just switch back between these two lighting outputs. Now let's use the calculation to drive an analog output. So we'll switch over to variable outputs. Here's our dimmer. I've already assigned the output point for the actual dimming load. Now we need to use the control sensor and define that from our calculation. Now we also need to tell the output what is 0% and what is 100% from the calculation. So this is fairly simple, just 0 and 100. There is no special override for this, and I did set up the failsafe to be a maximum output should the board still have power but lose communication to the main controller. One interesting thing about calculations is if I wanted to go back to the calculation number 1 and delete it, the controller would not let me do that. because it knows that that calculation is already assigned somewhere in the controller, and deleting the calculation would cause us problems. So the calculation can be deleted. The controller won't let you do that. But in this example, we've assigned a dimming load to switch between two different outputs based on time of day. Thanks for watching our video. For more information on Danfoss system controllers, please go to danfoss.com/supermarket support.